Good morning. This is Michael coming from my home studio with Interstate PR. And we have a special guest with us again today for our whole new world life and business during COVID-19. I know this has changed the way everybody's been living from going to work, from uh, how we live and interact with life. And one of the big things that's affecting a lot of people like me is school. I have three young kids. They're all in school at this moment in time. And I'm blessed that my wife and I have made the decision and the sacrifice to send our kids to Catholic school. And the Catholic schools here in the Diocese of Sacramento have been amazing. I feel like my kids haven't missed a beat. The teachers and the staffs at all the schools that I've heard are working overtime. They're working really hard, and they're doing their best. And I'm also really blessed to have a friend who was a principal for my children at one point, Mrs. Amy Hale, who's the principal at St. John Vianney School, to come, and she's agreed to talk to me today kind of about some things in general about how the staff got prepared, what they're doing now to support each other and to support the students, and with some tips and ideas as a parent herself to help and really educate our kids during this time. So I'm going to bring in Mrs. Hale and say thank you so much for being with us this morning. I really appreciate you taking the time out of what I know is a really busy schedule. So thank you for being on today.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
So, I mean, let's not beat around the bush very much. A few weeks ago, as the principal at St. John Vianney, you got a message from the superintendent of schools saying that we're going to go to distant learning. How did that look for you and for the staff, and how did you guys prepare for that?
Right. So, we had seen the news and we knew what was developing around the world and here in our own country and in California. My daughter happens to be a senior at University of San Francisco. So we knew that even San Francisco being one of the first places that they put the shelter-in-place order into effect, we knew that it was likely going to be moving towards Sacramento soon. And so the writing was on the wall, so to speak. So we started moving in the direction of needing to prepare to educate kids from their homes. So teachers started to work together in their grade level groups, and we started working together as a whole faculty, preparing for that, what turned out to be eventuality.
Yeah. Sure. And I now, as you know, my kids go to Our Lady of Grace in West Sacramento, and then your school is in Rancho Cordova. But I can assume that a lot of the things have been the same, that the diocese has given guidelines on certain things. And I can say that the teachers haven't missed a beat. They've been there for the students, and they and the administration all have been working really, really, really hard. And as a parent, I fully appreciate that. As an administrator during this time, what is the most difficult thing that you've had to overcome? Maybe it's interacting with students or staff or parents, but what's been the most difficult thing not being able to be on campus and be hands-on, if you will, with your staff and with the students and being able to interact with parents and such?
Yeah. Well, I think so. For one thing, one of the big hallmarks of a Catholic education is that we educate the whole child. We look after their heart, their heart, and their mind. There's an old saying that it's great if the kids get into Harvard, but we're really wanting them to get into heaven. So we can educate, we can teach our faith in many different ways, but then there's that other part where we need to take care of their social and emotional needs. And so for the teachers and myself, that's been the part that we've really struggled with. How do we meet the kids' social and emotional needs? When we hear from parents, we know that that's what they're striving to do as well in this new environment as they're trying to figure out how to support their kids. The teachers are preparing lessons and they're sending out, hey, moms and dads, can you please have your kids engage in this activity that's going to help move them forward in this math skill, or that's going to help them build this reading comprehension. strategy or what have you. Those are all excellent things, but moms and dads are trying to balance. And so we're all struggling to know how to best support those kids socially and emotionally. And that's been the biggest struggle, in all honesty.
And I fully agree. As you know, you know, Crystal and I, you know, our three boys.
Yeah.
And you know that I really believe, and Crystal really believes, that the parents are the first educators, right? We educate our kids, we show our kids the path, and then we entrust the school, wherever we send them to be that primary educator of, you know, your reading, writing, and arithmetic. But now with this distant remote learning, we are not only the first educator, but the primary educator right now. For those who don't have experience with teaching, what are some tips and ideas that you might have as a teacher and a principal and a parent to help with kids as they learn new things that you may have not done in 20, 30 years, to help your kids learn? And I know that the schools have been getting tons of resources. We get them all the time, but just, I mean, practical tips as a parent, as a teacher, that can make it a little bit better so that your child doesn't throw that temper tantrum that they like to throw when doing homework when you're trying to help them learn something.
Yeah. So I think that it starts before the assignments ever are on the table. Let's take care of the kids first, and let's take care of our families first. And moms and dads, you need to be taking care of yourselves as well. I think that I know it. I see it. I watch the moms and dads, and I know that you are stretching yourselves thin. I know that even in regular school times that you guys are doing incredibly hard jobs in your chosen career fields. And I can't imagine what that's like, having to shift and do that in your home. My husband and I, were empty nesters now, right? And so for me to make this shift and to be working from home, I don't have little people coming in and making demands on me. But so you have to, I know you guys have been so gracious. Moms and dads have been demonstrating grace towards teachers and towards principals. And towards their kids, but they have to start by showing themselves some grace and allowing themselves to know that it's okay that they don't know everything, and that they're not going to get to everything. And as long as they're doing their best and they're approaching it from that perspective, they have to know that sometimes you have to draw boundaries and set limits on what's best for their families. So I want to start with that first, because I think that they need to be given permission to say, you know what, for our family, we've had enough for today. And that's okay. And the teachers, especially I know here in our Catholic schools, are going to be receptive to receiving an email from parents saying, today was very challenging. We just weren't able to get to it. Would it be okay if we took care of that later? Or moms and dads, it's okay to say, we just aren't able to do this. It's going to be all right. I promise the teachers are going to be receptive to that. So I think we just have to start there, Michael. So important.
That's great. I think a lot of parents feel the pressure that, oh, my kids are supposed to be learning this in school right now. I need to let them learn this in school, or learn this at home, help them learn this at home. And you know, everybody talks about this work-life balance. Yeah. And now that some people are getting their dream, which is really turned out into a nightmare, of being home all the time, and it feels like a vacation, but you've got to get the work done. I think they're seeing that that work-life balance needs to look like something else. I know, and maybe you can share your thoughts on this. I know here we really have structured it just like it was a school day. The kids know when they're supposed to be doing things in class. They know when recess is, and when recess comes around, it's not like we let them go and pick up their Xbox or their Nintendo Switch or grab an iPad. We send them outside, or if it's raining, we give them something that they would be doing at school raining. I mean, the other day, my 6-year-old, when it was raining, CJ was running up and down the hallway, just running up, and he needed to get energy out. So we stopped everything so he could run up and down the hallway, and the other two boys could play with cars, whatever they needed to do. What do you have any tips that help at school to help release that energy, especially for the younger kids? and I have all boys, so I know what younger kids with a lot of energy means.
Yeah.
But what are some of the tips and tricks that you guys employ at the school to help out with getting that energy out?
Yeah. So I just think that if parents can start with just general great parenting tips, or have a structure. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a set schedule, right? So for some families, having a really set schedule that's time-based works. But if you have a set structure, and that means that there's a little bit of fluidity, maybe you have set tasks that need to happen, and the kids get to choose what they want to do and when that's going to happen throughout the day. Giving the kids some voice in what they feel like maybe they don't have any freedom in what's happened in this situation, that might help some families give some power back to their kids. But have some kind of a set schema so kids know they can predict what their day is going to look like. That's really important. And then just about as far as getting out and burning off that energy, I think it's really critical. There's some really great things, if you don't have a huge backyard, we've on rainy day recesses, we like to use some little yoga programs. And of course, I'm not going to remember the name of them now, but it's really good for the littler kids. They tell stories while they ask the kids to do yoga, and the poses kind of go along with the story that's being told. There's all kinds of wonderful online resources. But gathering up around the family dinner table, playing games, those are those cherished family traditions. And I think it's just, these are the times, because we're forced to be together, that we can find those traditions, and we can just cherish those times that we have together again as a family.
Those are awesome tips. I noticed on the St. John Vianney Facebook page that you led a Zoom hangout type session type thing. What other things are you guys doing as a school to keep families engaged? And kind of a second part of that question is, and if you wanted to answer them separately, it's totally cool. It just kind of popped in my mind. There's a lot of people struggling right now too. What are you guys doing as a school to help those people who are struggling during these difficult times? And if you don't want to answer the second one, it's totally fine. I understand that, but just kind of throwing that out in the atmosphere.
Yeah, so we did invite our parents to Zoom in and have like a virtual happy hour with us. Those were fun times to engage with the parents. But more importantly, for me as a school leader, it was important that the parents knew that I was available to them. I'm always available by email, but just that I was there in a place that they knew they could dial into. So we will continue to make those events available for our families, and I think that's just so important. It's not a replacement for being out on the sidewalk and as the kids and the families are coming or leaving from school, but it's the best we can do in these times. We, as a school community, we have to have that togetherness. We often talk about the fact that one of the benefits of this crisis is that we're reminded that the school is not the buildings, right? That we are the school. And it's the same of our churches. The churches are places, they're buildings we go to, but we are the church. And so those are encouraging reminders as we move forward in this, that we need to engage with our people. Oftentimes it's been interesting to hear, and our teachers, as a matter of fact, the teachers and we have Zoomed every morning since we've been off and we've been doing distance learning. We've missed one morning so that we could do our all school mass together. But that's been an incredible time of connection for us as well. So we just have to use the tools that are available to maintain those connections. But our kindergarten teacher, she was saying that, the parents desire the connection too, and that they're there with their child and that they're connected, and she's able to see their faces right alongside their child's oftentimes. So go. We know that they're present. About the other question that you asked, how we're supporting families if they're having difficulty, as always with my school families, I have just communicated with them, tried to be redundant in my messaging, that I'm here and that we are together, a community, and that they just need to communicate. And I use the term flex, and that if they need us to flex with them, that we will do our best to meet their needs and to be able to flex with them.
I think that's wonderful, and I think that's what most schools and businesses are trying to do right now. I do know that as well, is that, I mean, you're blessed to be at a Catholic school, and I'm blessed to send my children to a Catholic school. And the one thing that we've relied heavily upon is our faith during this time, knowing that, the Bible tells us that this too shall pass. And, it's also a wonderful season. I mean, we are in the holiest of all seasons in the Bible, right? I mean, the next few days you can say are the biggest days in our faith as Catholics, as Christians. If Good Friday never happened, Easter Sunday would have never happened. So I mean, those are two of the biggest days, right? And honestly, if Holy Thursday hadn't happened, and then Good Friday would have never happened.
Right,
so
right.
I mean, it's a very, very sacred time. Looking at that as your faith, right?
Yeah.
And as a principal at a Catholic school, what would you suggest to the students and to the parents at this time to do to control to bring that faith into their life? And I know that you're very strong in your faith. And I know that one of the things are probably going to be, saying the Hail Mary, because I know it's one of your favorite prayers.
Yeah.
But past that, what would you do to help bring that faith into the house, that they're not necessarily getting the same things with faith at home that they would be at school, right? So what would you do to bring that in?
Yeah, so that it's hard, right? Because this Holy Thursday, and so if we were in school, we would be having our Seder meal today, where the kids would be hearing the sacred prayers, and they would be reenacting what Jesus and the disciples reenacted. Well, not reenacted, but that the meal, the Last Supper, and then they would be seeing the living stations of the cross. The Passion Play lived out by our sixth graders, and those are sacred traditions that are really held on to. And in each faith community has those traditions that help to bring that faith to life, and for the kids to live it out, so that they're not just hearing it or reading about it or seeing somebody else live it out, but they're actually doing those things. So that would be my recommendation for families. If you can find a way to help the kids experience it, to live it out, in a big way or in a small way, whatever way that you're able to do that in your home. There's lots of wonderful resources online. So connect with the online resource, but then find a way to engage the kids in your home so they can actually be living it out.
That's great advice. So I want to be conscious of your time here, but I also want to throw a plug in and let you throw a plug in here. Crystal and I are absolutely blessed and enamored and in love with Catholic school. One of the things, and right now, it's made it even bigger. We've seen, as I've mentioned a couple of times, we've seen on our end, and I can only assume that it's going on at the other schools, about how amazing the staff has been. I mean, we've had Zoom calls with the teachers. We receive videos from our principal. They're all positive and reinforcing and encouraging. Been there as a support system for us if we need anything, to the point where we've received numerous emails saying, if you don't have the technology at home, call us, let us know. We will figure out how to do it with social distancing and get it to you to make sure it's safe. We even had one of our son's teachers did something.
Oh, Michael, you cut.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Oh no, I hope we didn't lose Mrs. Hale here. We'll see if we can bring her back in real quickly here. Looks like we may have had a little issue with her stream. I hope not. We'll see if we can get her. Oh, I see her on over here on the back end. I don't know. Anyways, what I was saying, I was going to ask Mrs. Hale, and hopefully her stream comes back up here, is that the Catholic schools have been great. We have family, we have friends who send their kids to public school, and they've been way far behind where the Catholic schools are. And the teachers and the principals all look like they're ducks on the water, just floating along and taking everything in stream. And it's so easy to see that and think that they're working harder, but they're making it all work. But I guarantee you that underneath, their feet are paddling really, really hard and really, really fast. It's one of those things that if you are in a position to look at how you can make a sacrifice for your children, consider Catholic school. It does cost money because it is a private school, but you can make that sacrifice if it's something that's big to you. And I look at during this time that my kids have not missed a beat. On a Friday afternoon, we found out they weren't going to be going to school on Monday, and they came home with packets of work. And on Saturday, Sunday, we received emails with work for Monday with the kids. And since then, we've received all these other things, and it's continuously daily. We get projects daily. The teachers check in. We've received phone calls where the teachers have talked to our kids. They've done Zoom sessions with the kids. They've used apps like Class Dojo and Seesaw and Google Classroom to connect with our kids. My oldest son has a conference call with his teacher in a small group twice a week. My middle son, his teachers call him once a week just to check in, to talk to him. The phone rings. May I speak to Jacob, please? My youngest son, he gets messages from his teacher all the time. She actually drove around to every house for every kid and dropped off a little package at the door for each kid that she had for them for St. Patrick's Day that she couldn't give to them because we went out of school the week of St. Patrick's. So my point is that Catholic schools, while yes, they may cost money, and yes, it can be a sacrifice to send your kids to school there. And yes, some people look at it as, I don't want people to think that I'm sending my kids to Catholic school because I feel like I'm better than other people. That's not what people at Catholic schools send their kids to those schools for. They send them to Catholic schools because of things like today, like right now, where my kids haven't missed a beat. At the end of this school year, my kids will be prepared to move to the next grade. They're not going to have to go into the summer. They didn't have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks to get curriculum from teachers. And the curriculum they're getting is not like, oh, hey, guess what? Go to this app and this app will help you. It's go to this app and here's information about what my curriculum and plan would be. And here's a video of me teaching to your kids. So big plug for Catholic schools. You don't have to be Catholic or even Christian to send your kids to Catholic school. It does help. Your kids will learn about the Catholic faith and Christianity. But Catholic schools have been amazing during this time. They've been well prepared. They've done a great job. I can speak on behalf of my wife and I to say that our kids' school, Our Lady of Grace, has been amazing. I know Mrs. Hale well. I know that her school has also been amazing. With that, I'm sorry that we lost the connection with Mrs. Hale. I think she had a lot of great things to say. Maybe we'll be able to get her back on again and answer a few more questions about what's going on and what people can expect as we come and the school year finishes off in distant learning. But thank you all for tuning in. We're going to have another one of these coming up hopefully tomorrow afternoon, getting the timing all taken care of right now. with a good friend of mine, Thomas Reeves, who is the public information officer for the city of Modesto, talking about how COVID-19 has changed things in the world of local government and what local governments are doing to help support its community members, businesses, and other people. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this on a replay, thank you for watching it. If you have any suggestions about people you want us to bring on, please let us know. We are happy to reach out to them. We're going to bring some business owners on as well to talk about their business and how they're adjusting. I'm trying to work out with some friends. I have some people who are restaurant owners, who are hairstylists, and others. And we're going to talk to them too and see how they're adjusting and find out how they need your support during this time and how you can continue using them for business. So thank you again for tuning in, and appreciate it. Have a great day.